Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to give a lecture on degree. This lecture is going to be presented by Muhammad Zaman Hossain, lecturer in English, Rajuk Uttara Model College, Uttara, Dhaka. I hope you are better today and passing your time in happiness. In this very moment, it is very important for us to follow the rules of avoiding coronavirus, because our life is more important than anything else in the world. As I said before, I am going to give a lecture on degree. First of all, I will say what is degree. Then I will say how many types of degrees are there. After that, I will say the definitions of all degrees with some examples. In the middle of the lecture, I will say something about some forms of degrees, and at the last of the lecture, I will show you how you can change degrees from one to another. So first of all, I would like to define degree. The definition of degree is the system of comparing anything is known as comparison of adjective or degree. I am repeating, the system of comparing anything is known as comparison of adjective or degree. Now I would like to discuss the classification of degree. Many of us know the answer. There are three types of degrees in English. They are positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. Now I'll discuss what is positive degree with some examples, and what is comparative degree with some examples, and what is superlative degree with some examples. So first of all, I would like to define positive degree. The definition of positive degree is when there is no comparison, it is known as positive degree. I am repeating, when there is no comparison, it is known as positive degree. I have given here two examples. A. He leads a very happy life. B. She is a bright student. If we look at the two sentences, we can see that there is no comparison here. So they are positive degree. Now I would like to define comparative degree. So the definition of comparative degree is when there is a comparison between two persons or things, it is known as comparative degree. I am repeating, when there is a comparison between two persons or things, it is known as comparative degree. I have given here two examples. A. He is better than his friend. B. Rubel is more energetic than his cousin. If we closely look at the two sentences, we can see that there is a comparison between two persons here. So they are comparative degree. In the first sentence, there are two persons. They are he and his friend. In the second sentence, there are also two persons. They are Robel and his cousin. Okay, now I would like to define superlative degree. The definition of superlative degree is when there is a comparison among persons or things, it is known as superlative degree. I am repeating, when there is a comparison among persons or things, it is known as superlative degree. Here I have given two examples to make this clear. First one is, he is the most active player in our team. Second one is, she was the cleverest ruler in her time. If we look at the two sentences, we can see that There is a comparison among the persons here. So they are superlative degree. Now I would like to discuss some forms of degrees. So there are three forms of degrees. They are positive form, comparative form, and superlative form. Number one, cheap, cheaper, cheapest. If we look at the first example, we can see that by using er we can make comparative, and by using est we can make superlative. Same is the matter with hard, harder, hardest, light, lighter, lightest. But if there is e at the last of the word, at that time we need to use only r to make comparative and st to make superlative, such as fine, finer, finest, novel, noveller, novelist, wise, wiser, wisest. But sometimes the last consonant takes a double form, such as big, bigger, biggest, thin, thinner, thinnest, sad, sadder, saddest. When there is y at the last of the word, and if you want to make this comparative, we need to use IER, and if you want to make this superlative, we need to use IEST, such as wealthy, wealthier, wealthiest, lovely, lovelier, loveliest, ugly, uglier, ugliest, lazy, lazier, laziest, heavy, heavier, heaviest. When there is a word more than one syllable, at that time we need to use more to make comparative and most to make superlative, such as intelligent, more intelligent, most intelligent, useful, more useful, most useful. There are some forms which take some exceptional form, such as bad or evil, worse, worst, good, better, best, little, less, least, many or much, more, most. So this is very easy to remember. I think we can remember them very easily. Now the most important part comes to us. That is how we can change degree from one to another. So I have used three formulas for them here. First one is F1, F2, and F3. F1 means formula 1, F2 means formula 2, F3 means formula 3. So if we look at the formula 1, we can see that if the superlative degree begins with the plus superlative form plus extension, and if we want to make this comparative, we need to use comparative form plus then any other or then all other. And if you want to make this positive, we need to use no other plus parts after the adjective, and before and after positive form as, or so as. We need to remember that when there is no other in positive form, and if you want to make this superlative, at that time we need to use the plus superlative form, and if you want to make this comparative, we need to use comparative form plus then any other or then all other. This formula will be very easy if we give some examples. Okay, so this is the example number 1. He is the wisest man among us. So in this sentence, we can see there is the plus superlative form. So that means it has come from the formula 1. So if you want to make this positive, we need to use no other. So the solution is no other man among us is so wise as he. If we look at the second sentence, we can see that Dhaka is the most populous city in Bangladesh. So we can say there is the plus superlative form. So if you want to make this comparative, we need to use comparative form plus then any other or then all other. So the solution is Dhaka is more populous than any other city in Bangladesh. If we look at the example 3, we can see that no other month is so cold as January in our country. So if you want to make the superlative, we need to use the plus superlative form according to the formula 1. So the solution is January is the coldest month in our country. I think all of you have got the point. This is formula 2. So in formula 2, we can see that if there is one of the in superlative degree, and if you want to make this comparative, at the time we need to use comparative form plus then most other. And if you want to make this positive, we need to use very few at the beginning instead of no other. Same is the case if there is very few in positive form, and if you want to make this superlative, at that time we need to use one of the, and if you want to make this comparative, we need to use comparative form plus then most other. So if I give some examples, it will be clearer to you. So first example is tiger is one of the most ferocious animals in the world. So in this sentence, we can see there is one of the, so it has come from the formula 2. So if you want to make this comparative, we need to use comparative form plus then most other. So the solution is tiger is more ferocious than most other animals in the world. If you look at number B, we can see that very few countries in the world are as beautiful as Bangladesh. So we can see it has come from here, so very few. If you want to make this superlative, we need to use one of the. So the solution is Bangladesh is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. If you look at the last example, we can see that he is more creative than most other students in the class. So here we can see than most other. So if you want to make this positive, we need to start with very few. So the solution is very few students in the class are so creative as he. There are some other students who write as him, but it will be as he. Okay, now if you want to discuss about formula 3, we need to say that in this formula, we need to make the object subject. If the sentence is affirmative, we need to make this negative. And if the sentence is negative, we need to make this affirmative. We should keep in mind that we shall have to change the form of degree according to the direction. So if I give an example, then you can understand that very easily. So if you look at the first example, we can see that the pen is mightier than the sword. So this is a comparative degree and we need to make this positive. So I said that we need to make the object subject. So the solution is the sword is not so mighty as the pen. And repeating, the sword is not so mighty as the pen. We can see that the first sentence is affirmative, So we have made this negative. We have brought the object at the beginning and we have made the affirmative form into negative form. If we look at the second example, we can see that cure is not so good as prevention. It is a positive degree and we need to make this comparative. So as we look at the formula, we can see that we need to bring the object at the beginning. So prevention is better than cure. The sentence is negative. We need to make this affirmative. So prevention is, and better is the comparative form of good. So prevention is better than cure. If you follow this formula, we can easily change degree from one form to another. So I think you have got a good idea about how to change degrees from one form to another. So no more today. Have a nice time always.